Thank you for listening to Serves You Right. If you have not noticed, this show does not take any ads. I do that intentionally because I think they take away from the experience. However, there is something you can do to support this show, and it would mean the world to me. If you could subscribe, let us know that we're doing a good job. All right, enjoy.
That's crazy, actually. It's about many people here in the industry. So someone really, drink alcohol. So for example, I try to stay sober most of the time. I didn't drink alcohol like during 12 years maybe or so. Just because it's like, basically my main profession was, I was working as an entertainer more than bartender. So that's why, like, for me it's not so crucial, for example, to get a deal like with all these things. But
you're not here for the party, you're here for the show.
Basically this is my work. So I had in my mind, like, some words like drug dealer, never get it by himself.
You don't get high on your own stash. That's what they say. Yeah. And what you do, because I watched some videos, like quite a bit of videos, it looks incredibly physical. It looks like you're an athlete in a lot of the things you do.
So let's say most of my professional life, I was working as a flair bartender. So I wouldn't say just a flair bartender. I tried to, compete a lot. Like I tried to be the best. So I had to practice every day at least 3-4 hours, no matter what. Like, if I have some time, like, night or morning or middle of the day, so I went to the practice room every day. And it gave me results, but at the same time, like, it kept me, like, in a good shape and, like, physical activity and stuff like that. So when I stopped do this so often, so I started gaining my weight, and I also needed, like, some physical activity. So that's why I just decided, okay, so if I don't do this, because of different reasons, because I'm kind of tired of it, like, it doesn't make sense anymore for me just because I'm not competing, and also physical condition, become older, like 37 already, and like, it's tricky, to do some sort of things, like, professional soccer players, let's say, so you still can do, some games, but then, like, it's way easier to get trauma or, to be injured somehow.
Yeah.
So
tear an ACL or something, yeah, for sure.
Some sort of, yeah. And I always had some pain in my neck and lower back, so that's why I decided, like, okay, to stay healthy, but at the same time, keep going to do some different activities. And also, of course, it gives you some confidence, like, your ego and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's hard to let go. Yeah, no, I totally know, like, that change from intense activity to not. It's been a little while, but I trained for a marathon, ended up running the marathon. It was a net positive on my health, except for afterwards. I stopped running as heavily, and I didn't think to, like, cut back on the amount I was eating, and I actually did gain some weight afterwards, just because I was like, you get used to eating these big meals and you need them when you're running for like 3 hours, but afterwards you don't.
Oh yeah.
And so I learned that lesson the hard way. Yeah.
Yeah, I kept the same, like, idea to run the marathon, but then I started to prepare, and I figured out actually my lower back, like, I feel pain every single day, and like, it's impossible to train this way. So I have to figure out how to stay healthy anyway, and like, actually, someone told me about what's the difference between professional athlete and just enthusiast. Professional athlete knows how to protect himself, how to stay healthy, for a longer time. It's like, I don't know, you've seen, like, some athletes, they started well and then got injured, like, in 20s. Some people, like LeBron James or Cristiano Ronaldo or someone, like, they have a 20-year-old career and, like, still on a good shape and continue, showing the best results. This is a difference,
Yeah. No, it's more like, everyone who needs to in a moment can turn it on. Like, if you get full of adrenaline, you can make things happen. You can push through, but it's it's the rest that kind of sets apart the people that continue and have longevity, because you've got to prioritize that. You got to relax, because that's how you avoid the injury.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed.
I've never talked to on the show a flair bartender, someone who started that way. And I know a lot of people in the service industry are interested but don't know what to think about it. And like, you have such good content online. I just thought you'd be the ideal person to talk to, honestly.
For example, have you ever talked with someone, let's say, guys who works in Vegas or so?
Yeah, I've talked to several Vegas guys. None that like really emphasize the flair side though. So Tobin Ellis, who's big on like bar design. Tony Abaganim was a big drink creator. Then Bobby G, the old guy from Beam Centauri. But all these guys are more focused on the craft of the cocktail versus the presentation.
Okay, yeah. So I'm not the average guy from flair industry, to be honest, and my way is very different, I guess, to compare 99% of other flair bartenders. So that's why if you're thinking like, this is the average way how people go.
No, this is perfect, because I literally know very little about this, besides it looks cool and I've seen some people do a few things. So like I think this is perfect. Like, what is the average flair bartender and what makes you different? Like, let me know.
Okay. So just because I'm from Russia, so basically all my professional career I grown there. I got all skills there, and I can tell you just a little difference between, for example, American flair bartending and European overall. It's just because like different circumstances. I started work as a bartender, but the first what I seen behind the bar was like, one guy just got the shaker and just like flip it over again and again. I just like, wow, I want to learn this shit. And then like, it got me like, I don't know, like 10 minutes or so to learn everything they knew about flair. Like, some palm spin, like, flip over the finger, and, some nice pours and stuff like that. And then just like, guys, like, teach me like something else. I like that shit.
That's it.
Yeah. And then, okay, so I didn't know how to use this tricks, but basically it doesn't matter, like, it was a game inside of this job. So I was working as a bartender, so it was interesting for me, but like somehow I kept in my mind the dream, like I want to learn, like, how to juggle in 3 balls, 4 balls, whatever, something. And I'm from a small town in Russia, so then I moved to, after a half year working in my small town, I moved to the bigger city, St. Petersburg. It's like next to the Moscow, and there was only bartending school. No, there are a couple of bartending school, but the only I knew I have to go there, and I learned some basics like grips, how to do some tricks here and there, and then started learn more just by myself, preparing for different competitions and stuff like that. So I was working as a bartender to spend money as a flair bartender. Just, I spent all my life, no matter what, no matter what happened. And I tried to compete as much as possible. So there was a local competition every single month, like a flair bottle or something. And I tried, I don't know, somehow, like I was addicted. I was crazy about that. Mm-hmm. And then step by step it became my job. And the key moment, I was working as a bartender, so I don't remember exactly salary it was, but let's say $50 a day or 100, I don't know. But I was working behind the bar, and I seen the guy who just went to the wedding, on the second floor where I was working. It was a wedding, and one guy just came. I knew this guy, he knew he was a performer, flair performer, and then he just did 5-minute show and got twice more than I got for a whole day. But those moments I already knew how to juggle in 3 balls, and just something clicked in my mind, what do I but I'm here right now, so I have to be there. And this is a key moment why I actually changed my career, like, 180%, and went to this way, not like, like as a mixologist, more as an entertainer, just because it's like completely different mind, different circumstances. And basically, as I mentioned before, I was addicted in it. So that's everything here. But at the same time, I still was working behind the bar and trying to combine it till it got me enough money to cover all my expenses. So this was my way, basically. But at the same time, I started working as let's say entrepreneur. So I did my own business. It was a catering business plus show performances, kind of. And before I moved to America, so that was my main profession.
Okay. So, and is there continuity from that catering business all the way to its Perfect Serve? Or is this like an evolution? This is like the beginning of that sort of style.
There was another company, it was, we call it Bar Story Show. It still works in St. Petersburg. My friend runs it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had some experience how to work here and there, how to build like, small businesses. But at the same time, I wasn't really interested those time. I just like, okay, so give me some balls, I'm gonna juggling, I'm gonna travel. Actually, all my money I got from this business, I spent, traveling across Europe, Asia, and also America, competing different, different style competitions, different countries. And actually, it made me who I am now, just because it's not only about my skills, it's about my mentality. So I'm kind of way more mind open person right now than I used to be, or I couldn't be. I would say some sort of. I traveled like more than 40 countries, and more or less I knew what's going on around the world.
Yeah, definitely. It helps to expand the horizons too, seeing just that many different ways to do things. I was going to ask, because not everyone ends up on the competition circuit. Did you just relish the chance to try your skills? Was it something else about competitions that drew you in? Because not everyone competes. At least not everyone here. Maybe it's different in Russia. Yeah.
Basically, competitions everywhere is the same. Like here in America or Europe, Russia, Asia, it's the same. It's just different circumstances. Let's say different situation where you have more people around who train and do the same, or you just alone. And for example, all my life I got some people next to me in my city, so I could communicate with them, like, exchange some ideas, skills, whatever, something. And it's very important, actually, for example, for this, for flair by itself. If you, for example, if you compare like flair in different countries, way stronger flair bartenders were more flair bartenders, basically. So nowadays, like Italy, one of the best country, like, for flair bartenders, but at the same time the worst, just because so many of them are living there. But for example, it used to be in Russia the same way. Nowadays, like, it's a little bit different because of like the last 5 years situation. But basically, it helped me a lot, just because of like the best flair bartenders used to live in Russia when I grown up. So it's like in my mind, I just like, okay, so if I beat this guy, basically I'm not gonna be the best in this country, I'm gonna be the best in the world. So that's why. And not the same in America, for example. It's like I'm not gonna be the rude guy or whatever something, but to be honest, it's like the average level way less, and the most flair bartenders in the USA, it's like guys who came like 20 years ago, still working in Vegas, and they live in their American dream, and like it's obvious, but it happens like that just because people here, they don't have time and let's say, resources for traveling and different some sort of teenagers dream, like winning competitions and stuff like that. They just working, getting money, like building their life, building kind of their own success and stuff like that. But at the same time, America is it's very tough. It's way harder to live in this country than, for example, somewhere else. You just don't have a chance, to train so much. You have to hustle.
Yeah, for sure. Especially on the coasts. You can kind of live a comfortable life in the middle of the country, but East and West Coast, everything's so expensive. I mean, it just is. Like, you're in New York, right?
Yeah. So
that's like the hub of the most expensive of all of America, right?
it depends what you are, for example, talking about. Yeah, of course, if you work as a average bartender and you get in the salary from a bar, yeah, absolutely, it's crazy. Like getting like $30 per hour, and for example, the average apartment like $3,000-4,000. That's crazy. Yeah, of course, you can share like a room or something, but you want to live in a room with someone? Not really, I guess. And it's the same thing everywhere. So, for example, if your salary higher, your expenses way higher. If your salary lower, but basically most of the time your expenses lower. It just depends. Yeah, the same in Russia. So, for example, I used to live there. Like it was way easier to get comfortable life than here. Yeah, of course, I'm immigrant here, so yeah, so it's some sort of problems and like things like I have to do extra here just because of language, just because of like papers and stuff like that. So of course, but once you figure out this question, you still like the same, like I don't know, somehow. For example, I never paid like so much for apartment, like just like every single month I have to pay like 5,000 apartment plus parking plus blah blah blah. It's just like and you have to figure out how to get this money. If not, just fuck off.
Yeah, go live on the street for a little while.
Yeah, absolutely. This is America. It's like I became a very more responsible person. It was just like shit, it's
What influenced that decision to move to America? Why all the bother?
I would say like it was a few different. I moved here like in 2021 during the COVID. So basically, we used to travel a lot with my wife, and in 2019, first time we came to America in Vegas on a competition, and we had a opportunity, to travel a lot around like 2 or 3 weeks from LA, Vegas, Washington, and New York. And to be honest, it's kind of weird, but America is the most similar country to Russia.
Sorry for the interruption. We will get right back to the show, I promise you. If you have not had a chance, please leave a comment. It would mean the world to me. I love hearing from my listeners, and I love people that ask questions, challenge me. It's the whole reason I do this. So yeah, take a moment. Even if it's this rocks, this sucks, doesn't matter. All right, back to it. I could see that. Yeah. My wife is Russian, by the way. So I'm pretty familiar with it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
I understand a lot more Russian than I can say, but yeah.
Yeah, it's this, I would say like the same chaos happens everywhere, but at the same time, it's kind of, you get what you've done, I would say. It's fair enough for younger people, especially for ambitious people. So that's why, like, if you have goals, dream, whatever, you can realize. Same in Russia, but only the level of life. It's like tricky, but still, like if you build a business, it's okay. But the problem, like you see what happens with the government. It's just like shit. If something never happened, so I never moved to America, to be honest, just because it's way easier to live than in Europe, I bet.
Sure, yeah. No, and like a lot of respect. I was just curious about why you moved. Her sister still lives over there, and she recently visited, and just the legal loopholes she had to jump through to get here, and to get here and have money to spend, just with everything going on, it was a nightmare, you know. And her daughter's about to get married, and we were looking into moving, not moving, but visiting for the wedding, and it's just like, yeah, our credit cards won't work. You know, like it's like trying to figure out you got to fly into another country. Like it's just
Bro, last 5 years they changed a lot. So I used to live in another country. I would say not like right now. So it was way easier, and like, you know, you had all these advantages you have in America or in Europe, but it was everything way cheaper and way better quality. But just because of, like, you know, political situation, everything changed completely. And unfortunately, I'm not the guy who can explain what's going on right now, just because it's just it's crazy. Yeah, it's kind of toxic also for me, just because I'm Russian. It's like a little bit toxic topic, you know, to talk about, just because, you know.
Yeah. No, it's rough, and I'm sure you probably have family members who are over there, or different sides, you know, all sorts of things. Yeah,
yeah, of course. But it is what it is. So this situation right now, so we just, yeah.
But you came here, yes, and you've been building a life. Tell me about the journey here. You've set up a business. You teach people flair online. Like, you've got a lot going on.
Yeah. So I have a lot of experience teaching people. Actually, it helped me a lot, you know, to grow by myself, actually, all my skills. And somehow I kept going, you know, doing online school all my life. Like overall. So, for example, when I got depression, just because I moved to America, so my psychologist just told me, like, okay, so you have to do something like you really like. And I start teaching people, just because I in some way I like to do this. And, you know, you're kind of exchanging the energy, and it's like, it's very positive energy, just because people learn flair, they got some real emotions, and just, oh look, I can catch the behind the back or whatever, something, just different poor stuff. And I'm also proud, you know, when my students do something, but at the same time, later on I figured out, like, it's impossible to cover all my expenses doing that. So yeah, it was tricky. I also, just because of my filming skills, it helped me a lot on first maybe year to cover my expenses. I was working in different bars, like got different let's say skills, filming like cocktails, filming, let's say, even nightclubs live. So I was performing, then, like, you know, filming and stuff like that. So living in New York, so you have to figure out what to do. Yeah, and then step by step I was working as a bartender with different caterings. I wasn't be able to. I was thinking, actually, working behind the bar somehow. But just because of, like, you know, this moving process, I have to be, you know, stay legal, and I couldn't work behind the bar till I have this work permission. So that's why, you know, first half year I couldn't. It could help me, actually, with my language as well. You know, when you work behind bar, it's way easier to catch something here and there. But at the same time, so somehow I figured out how to live here step by step, getting more jobs as a flair bartender. And actually, it's way easier to get a job on event if you're flair bartender, and your salary like twice more if you know what to do. So that's why it's okay. It's not so valuable, I bet, behind a bar, but for weddings, corporate events, birthday parties, it's cool. I mean, like, it's definitely, it gives you some advantage. So I was thinking, okay, so maybe we have to move to Vegas or whatever, something. But then I figured out, not really. So that's life in Vegas. It's very different than, for example, life here in New York or in LA.
Then anywhere, yeah.
Yeah, and then step by step, I was working with different caterings here and starting, doing my own project. But then at the same time, I work with my Instagram and, getting more skills as a videographer, just because I'm filming for my wife, so she has almost 1 million followers. And yeah, here and there some sort of things, like I'm always open-minded, to getting new skills and trying to make the best what I can.
Yes, improving 1%. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes more than one, sometimes it feels like you're decreasing, just like falling down, but then like just again.
Yeah. There's one area that we haven't talked and I would love to hear about from you, drink creation. Because I'm reading through the drinks on your Instagram, I'm looking through the different drinks you've done. One, are those all your cocktails? And then, like, two, how did you learn to make cocktails? So kind of what's your process?
It's obvious. It's easy. For example, if you work in industry, I'm in industry like 18 years already. It's all basics. Like you have 3 or 4 formulas how to build drinks, basically, and yeah, you just change ingredients, and yeah. So let's say the biggest jump was maybe like a year, like 1.5 years ago. So I didn't drink alcohol before, so I kind of was curious about non-alcoholic drinks, like different combinations. I still like I was able to try different cocktails. It was okay for me to try something, just sip it, like okay, so I remember the flavor and taste and combination, but at the same time I didn't drink for myself. So now I also try to avoid that, just because it's a good habit actually to stay sober, and it gives me a lot of advantages. So, but now I try to be more involved in a cocktail making process. Like the key idea is just the drink, what you like by yourself. So, for example, if I don't really like something, I just like. And I have a lot of expectations. For example, when I go to the bar somewhere, like some bars, like a double chicken please, or some sort of katana kitten, or employees only. These famous bars in New York, like many other bars, but this very famous. Somehow I came there, like, and I got not a good drink. Some sort of. Somewhere less dilution than it's supposed to be. Somewhere it's not chilled well, or it's like a bit more sour than it's supposed to be, and somehow,
not fully balanced.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just like how it's possible, impossible in the bar, like, which is in top 50 in the world, to get this drink, and it's nothing special. They have a menu, they have a process. It's supposed to be like the similar cocktail again and again, and I just like, that's weird. But at the same time, I figure out that basically that's life. So I have to avoid that.
Yeah. No, I mean, there is a special challenge if you've never worked in a actual bar. Like, making the first cocktail is the easy part. It's making cocktail number 10,000, making sure it's the same way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I work in a catering. I try to do the same. The same process. It's just like but you have a bar, you have a fridge, you have a freezer, whatever, everything here. So you have a prep station, you have a guy who is responsible for this and this and this. But when I work behind the bar, for example, and prepare my catering, I do basically most of this work by myself right now, just because I still don't have a big team, and I try to figure out how to keep the same quality again and again, but not working in a bar. I'm working just on a regular table, just bring all the stuff and from a box, building cocktails that with the quality from this top bars around the world. And yeah, of course, I guess like it's just a lot of pressure from inside, a lot of expectations. Just because I know how it might be. Maybe it's just the standard, like it might be like that. So it's my standard. It's not like, the average is like here, so I have to. Not really. It's always about that. So that's why I won, many competitions, and I try to, keep the quality of my production high, and 1% better every single time. So I just blame myself if something goes wrong.
Yeah, and I do want to ask because at least on Instagram you've got a bunch of different cocktails that have like printed edible things on them and smoke and like it looks like you're pouring liquid nitrogen. Like, how often do you use these things in your day-to-day catering experience, and like how often? Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I can explain. So basically, all the special effects, it's mine, my feature. So my advantage, what I do on a catering. So basically, I use everything here. So that's why people are ready to pay me more than other bartenders. It's like my special offer. But at the same time, if you see my Instagram page, I collaborate with some brands. So I kind of have a frame using some ingredients and trying to get the best. But in my real life, I don't really use syrups. I work with purées, with acids and stuff like that. So I try to be like more on the mixology side and try to figure out what is more stable ingredients, but at the same time more like natural and gives you some unique experience. Of course, we're not talking about cocktails for bartenders. It's like another tier. Many bartenders work for bartenders. I try to do my business, and of course my clients are just regular enthusiasts or just regular people, so I try to give them this experience on their level. And somehow, juggling stuff, but my Instagram basically also, trying to figure out what works, what not. But just because it's a visual art, so I have to incorporate some interesting things, but some trendy
some
stuff.
Fun things.
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's maybe it looks selfish sometimes. Maybe I don't know. Sometimes not necessary. Sometimes whatever, something else. But it is what it is. So you as a guy who produces content, so for example, to be able to sell this content to someone, you have to create the product that works for someone, and somehow I found the format which works for brands. And I don't know, somehow brands just see this content and just like, we would like to, put our product in for this guy, like, to get the perfect picture, like, with a good light, with a good equipment, with a nice presentation, whatever, something. And somehow it works. So I try to, keep it this way, to get this production work. But at the same time, be flexible. Of course, maybe some people like, I don't know. I still not really believe that like it's 100% honest and true for many bartenders, just because many bars, they never use syrups and stuff like that. But in the end of the day, like, that's my circumstances. I either create content and do this way, or not doing anything like that, just because I don't have budgets.
Yeah. You do kind of have to play the game. It it strikes me that it's almost like the Flair version of cocktail videography and photography. It's just a little extra here.
Absolutely. So that's life, actually. So everyone has their own, game, where people try to figure out the best solution, the best result they can do.
If I were just starting out as a bartender and not the old man that I am, what advice would you have for me? Like a beginning bartender, someone who, like, I was a pretty serious student. I saw bartending, I tried it, I was a barback, and I fell in love, but I didn't know where to go from there. And so I specialized in the wine side. I ended up moving off to the somm route. But like, just imagine you've got a new, young, excited bartender who is willing to learn, but it's kind of a blank slate.
That's funny. I guess To jump in this profession, it's so easy and so hard to go out. Um, but yeah, the best it's like find the really good place where you get the good standard from scratch. It's way harder to change your mindset than create something from scratch. So that's why I would recommend like any position, any situation in a good place than, for example, the good position in a shitty place. So that's how you can get it. And I was working like somehow I collaborated with EBS, European Bartending School. They closed just half year ago in New York. They used to be in Vegas and Miami before the COVID. And that was a really good bartending school. You know, it could be useful for American bartenders definitely. But the key idea, main student was from Europe. And nobody wants to learn skills here and pay for skills, as everyone just like, you know, just jump in the river. Okay, so let's try to learn how to swim.
Very American, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. But sometimes this river not flat. Sometimes it's like it's a crazy river, so you can just die.
Yeah, yeah. There is an over reliance on jump and see if you can swim here. I've definitely noticed that. Running a place where I actually sort through resumes and hire people, there's a lot of people without experience who's just like, no, but I'll learn quickly. And it's like, well, yeah, this this is like a fine dining place. This probably isn't where you need to learn to start serving. You know, like, but it is.
Yeah, you know,
Reach for the stars. You know.
yeah, this is the reason why I actually also stopped like, you know, teaching people here. So let's say it's easy for me. For example, my average hour cost about like $100 or more. And people ask me about, oh, can I teach them in person? Just like, okay, so how much should I get, you know, and how much should they pay for this? It's like it's weird. So it's like donation for me, you know, to teach someone. So it's weird. But at the same time, for example, I invested a lot before when I tried to learn flair. Basically, I got some courses, then I got another one, then I start traveling, then I start competing. So if you're just thinking about competition, it's like investment. You have to pay for travel. You have to pay like entrance fee, like $100 or something. You have to do this and that, like, you know, pay for hotel, for your food, whatever. In Europe, my average expenses was not so high, like $500 maybe, or euros. In Asia, a little bit more, like 1,000. In America, even living in New York, I spent more than 1,000. Anyway, just going to Miami or
like a day, yeah.
Not really a day, but like you travel like 3 days
Yeah.
mostly. You know, tickets back and forth 500 plus hotel plus entrance fee plus expenses, taxi, blah blah blah. And even winning like, you know, a few times American championships, I just covered my expenses, so it doesn't make sense. But at the same time, it's investment. For example, I have like a lot of trophies, so I have a name, I have a lot of skills. Same with videography. I got, so you see like the picture, the nice picture, nice production, everything looks great, looks expensive. It already gives me some, you know, money back. But the feature, nobody asked me about, like, you know, where and what I learned, like as a skill. Everybody asked me like, what kind of camera I have, what kind of light I have. This is light here. What kind of bar I have or whatever. But it doesn't make sense, just because I could do the same with a phone. I could do the same with without the bar, without everything. That's like, this is the key difference, what you learn.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is. I'm sure there are many people around the world, but I think it is especially a very American thing to think that the things you're missing are not skills, but items. Items that you can buy and that will solve your problems. Like, yeah.
It's very American. I mean, yes. I know why it happened like that. So, for example, and why I have another mentality. Let's say we have different level of life in different countries. Oh, sorry, I was thinking my wife gonna come, so I.
No worries.
Yeah. So we have let's say, this camera with this lens, it's about like $4,000 maybe. I don't know. It's just a regular Sony Alpha S7 S3. It's very old camera nowadays already, but still gives me like 4K 120. It's crazy, It's more than enough for all my needs, and it costs like 4,000 with like another lens, maybe like 5,000, whatever. Here in America, I just like, just because like a lot of expenses here, I pay for my apartment actually 5,000. I just like, I can buy the camera, just like extra rent or whatever. But in Russia, to pay this camera, it's like 10 rents. It's like I have to save money. I have to wait.
It hits harder, yeah.
It's like, and yeah, of course, it's way easier to live there. But when it comes to a real purchase, you want to buy BMW. Oh shit, it's a dream. Like, it's like you have to put it in a poster or whatever. So you have to get a real business, to buy a car like that. But in America, you can buy it like, working behind the bar basically, or something. If you really want. Of course, it takes a lot of your resources, but you can afford it. This is the difference, and why people just buy tools and get all this shit. But the difference in Russia, just because you can't buy it, you are thinking, okay, so maybe is there another way how to get this result? Maybe you get the cheaper camera, but like better skill, and you just get this camera for $1,000, but you just get the best what this camera can give you.
Take the photography class, yes. Or practice. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you squeeze every single dollar from this camera.
Oh yeah.
That's the funny thing, like the key difference. So that's why I still have this mentality. I don't need more than that, of course. Even like it's like 6-year-old camera. I'm good with that. So if I see something what I can do, so it means the problem here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is also this special like almost angst about spending money and at the end of the day not having a physical object there. Like so I went I like I said before, I'm on the SOM route, and I did the advanced SOM course with the Quartermaster SOMs, and I failed actually at my first attempt. And people have asked me about it, and they're like, how much was that? And like without blinking an eye, I was like $5,000, to take the test, to fly out, to book the rooms, to pay for the wine. And it's rough to spend that money and end up literally empty-handed. But I would argue that I didn't end up empty-handed because I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Bro, it made me focus,
Bro,
Yeah.
the biggest upset of my wife. My wife, she also got the good sommelier course in St. Petersburg. It was very expensive, like, even compared to this, like, it was a few $1,000s. And in a COVID, she lost her...
her taste completely,
Yes, and just like, what the fuck? It's just, it's crazy. And she's still, like, after 5 years, she, like, feel like taste a little bit different. So we trying something, I just, like, say, it looks like this one, like, feels like this. No, it's, like, completely different. Still different.
Well, yeah, I was only affected, I only had it once that I knew of. And it was about 6 months. I got my smell back pretty quickly, but not fully. And so there was a 6 month period where like anytime someone brought in a wine, because I was working as the som at the moment, I was always telling the distributors like, this just, it's not what we're looking for, you know, like, and I still remember the tasting when I realized I got it back. Like everything that guy brought, I was like, this is awesome. This is awesome. And then the next day I was like, oh no, I can smell again. That's what that is. It's just I'm back.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Man, I hope she gets it back. That's crazy.
It's okay. I mean, you know, that's life. You trying something, you try to open the door and try to check does it work for you or not. You know, just because even for example about flair, you know, many people just told me about like you're not gonna do this all your life. I just like when I was 25 or something, so I was crazy about that. I just like, why not? So I can, you know, I can stay in shape and stuff like that. But the problem is it's not about only your physical, it's about your body or physical, let's say, kind of condition, you know, to train a lot or stuff. It's just about you grow, like you change your mindset, you have different goals, you have maybe different dreams after some time. And
Yeah. I mean, you could train 3 hours when you're what 25, but when you're 35 and you have 2 kids, training 3 hours is going to be different. It is going to hit life differently, you know.
yeah, but at the same time, I'm not so interested in it. It's important, you know, to be involved 100%. I wouldn't say like, you know, I was training like 3 or 4 hours a day. I wasn't into the flair like 24/7, just because I went to the practice room, like, you know, just sitting on a chair, like, you know, in subway, just like, you know, staying like that. And in my mindset, I just like, you know, I was thinking about the sequence. I just like trying to incorporate some tricks and stuff like that. So it's like in a slow motion, I try to imagine how the trick works, and like 4 objects or 5 objects, like step by step. So this object goes with this speed, so I have some time, you know, to get something different, like, you know, and what, where so that was my mental practice, mind. I don't know, and all my work, basically, I was working as a performer. I teach people a few times a week how to do flair, and maybe like something different, and it was all about flair, everything. I learned how to dance, how to, let's say, work with microphone. I tried to, I got the degree about, let's say, performances, like kind of art, like a director of performances, some sort of things, like, you know, a really professional education, and different acting classes and stuff like that. So just because I was working as a performer, so I was a very shy person. But then, you know, step by step, just because of flair, just because I really like it, I changed myself a lot. So I still like this melancholic type of person, so I can stay alone for many hours, and I am okay with that. So without any communication, completely opposite American guy. I just like,
yeah.
So,
Well, speaking as someone who's in a room alone talking to someone on the internet, I understand. I get you. No.
yeah, but at the same time, I learned how it works, how to be more confident, how to perform. Let's say for me it's a skill. For some people it's very natural, but at the same time it's a big advantage for me, just because I knew how it works from scratch, and somehow it helped me a lot, just because I educated myself in something already. It means like I can learn everything by myself now, just because I knew it's a way. It takes some time, it takes some energy, so I have to be involved, and I have to like what I do.
Yeah, you have one thing that you've proven to yourself you can become world class at, and now the world's open.
Yeah, but at the same time, world class is just about people who like what they do, and they are really good at it. It's just about like bunch of addicted people with some sort of craziness about this.
So, someone who's listening at home, who's touched by this, interested in what you do, and wants to find out more about you, see what you do, maybe even work with you, where could they find out more about you?
Sorry, I'm not sure I got your question.
Yeah. Well, I guess a simpler way to say it is if someone's listening at home and they're like, I want to know more about this guy, where could they go to find out more about you?
That's a key idea. So, for example, we all have our personal life. So, and maybe me as a person a little bit different with me as a Instagram character they see. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they can get who I am in real life. Maybe I'm way better as a person in real life. Maybe not. But somehow, for example, for me, a little bit more comfortable, to build this difference between me in Instagram or YouTube and there. So I don't know if it's possible to know about more about me. So maybe.
Fair enough. Well, where can they see the facade of you online?
Maybe. I don't know. It's it's so hard to be kind of naked in Instagram, just because it means like you show your weaknesses, you show your some things like it really matters for you. I try to avoid that stuff just because just protect myself.
Yeah, we're here for the pretty pictures of cocktails anyways.
So that's why actually it's a big advantage for me, just because I do the same as many people in Instagram. I know they not who they are in Instagram, most of
for sure. For you, how many Instagrams do you control? Because I found Easy to Flare, I found your name, and then there's the catering. Are those the only three that you mainly work on, or is there one that you'd like to send people to more than any other?
Could you rephrase the question?
Sure. Which of the Instagrams that you use do you prefer people check out?
My personal, actually, just because it's combining all of these Instagrams around. Yeah, of course, I control Easy to Flare, but I just created it just because of it used to be a time when I got all content on my personal page, and it's kind of confusing for people. Let's say I work as a bartender, or like I do services for events. I teach people, and I produce Instagram content. Okay, if you're a brand, you come to my page and you just it's like this guy teach people, or you're event planner, you just say he produced some content. It's kind of weird, to show what you do. So that's why I try to figure out actually what gives me the main income, and what and how it works. So for example, I just divided all my educational content and just put it separately with my students and my tutorials. I got this content just because my Instagram it's mostly about brands and content I create, so that's why I keep this content here, but also trying to develop my company, so I try to keep it close. That's kind of my three ways where I try to stay. Let's say the school usually doesn't give me any income. I have some expenses, so I have a tech support, I have it's the a website and all this traffic, all this online platform, I have to pay every year. So basically it just covers these expenses, and somehow I just try to, be useful for people. It gives me some advantage as well, just because, if people see you more, they remember about you. Also brands see you're more famous and you're more useful, and that's important for me.
This is a serious guy. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for some people it's important just because you have some sort of activity where you teach people. So let's say compared to bartenders, one bartender, he gives some, he kind of useful for people. He do some society function, let's say, or a guy who just earn money. Yeah, of course.
Might as well go with the other guy. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, just try to be useful. Just some way. If I can help someone, that's great. But if it doesn't take a lot of time, just because time is valuable right now, so I don't have enough time to do everything I want, so I have to choose. So that's why I hired a person who helped me with Instagram, with Easy to Flair and Bartender TV. I have a bunch of different resources. Somehow maybe I'm lucky in this way, but somehow all these resources are growing by themselves. I'm trying to stay focused on production and on doing something, not maybe interactive person who just answering all these questions in Instagram. I just don't have time for that. Either I create or I'm talking with people. Unfortunately, I don't have time.
Well, I mean, that's the danger of being good at something and danger of growing things. You've got to keep the main thing the main thing. If you let that slip.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're focusing, we have 200 hours a month and also a small amount of energy. So if I spend all my energy on something even delete my Instagram every single day, for example, just because that's a problem of influencers. I don't know, maybe you have the same problem. Just because you work with content, you also get these problems with content. So that's why
I have a time control that shuts it off.
Yes, yes. Nowadays you have to cut this shit completely to be able to keep going.
Yeah, live life. Before we wrap this up, because I do unfortunately have to go, I love talking to you. I want to make sure there's nothing we missed that we should have covered for someone listening. Anything that you were hoping we maybe touched on?
I don't know, maybe. Just because I guess we are talking about bartending, but basically we didn't.
Didn't mention bartending, yeah.
Yeah, so what I would say, usually bartenders, they want to work behind the bar and then to thinking about, okay, so what next? So for example, if I work behind the bar already 5 or 10 years, but basically there are no way to grow. The only way, if you wanna stay in restaurant business, you can be kind of as a manager, as a beverage director or something, but it's nothing.
The route I took, yeah.
Nothing common with a regular bartending job. So you have to just keep in mind there are if you work as a bartender, there are no options basically to grow financially. So either you create your own business or you go somewhere else, but you have to keep going to develop your skills, and it's very different skills. It's not about mixing whatever something, or I don't know, flair or something. I knew nowadays one skill is not enough. For example, I have a bunch of different skills, and I never know what's gonna be next for me. I'm trying to, for example, learn how to manage right now. I spend a lot of time and it's so difficult for me, just because it's very different. So right now, working as a flair bartender, let's say I earn twice more than a regular bartender. But if I want to learn, if I want to earn 10 times more, I have to learn how to work with other bartenders and how to make them do the job I want to do. But at the same time, I have to learn how to sell. Just because if I'm not selling, I don't have these options, to work with someone. And I try to figure out how to get all these skills, just because without it, it's not gonna work, and it's not, I'm gonna stay in the same place. And this is the worst thing for me personally, just because I'm a very ambitious person, and I try to, keep going, doing something new. And it's always about educational stuff. So if you don't want to learn something, so you never get result. So you have to, especially right now, AI, all this stuff, you have to be more effective. So you have to learn how to handle all this AI new software. So that's why the main advice, just let's say, stay in touch. What's going on? Like just
keep learning.
Yeah,
absolutely. No, I've definitely worked with two different types of bartenders. The one who this is the best they'll ever be, and it's all a downward spiral as they get older and older. And then the ones that this is the worst they'll ever be when you meet them, because you know that they're always learning and growing and always getting better and better. And so it's like tomorrow you'll be better than yesterday, and again and again and again.
And the worst thing though, as a bartender, I understand, for me, how I look like very important. I become older, and it's bad actually, just because skin worse and everything. So until I look good, people are ready to pay for my time. But if I become older, so maybe not really, just because my eyes not so bright, and I look not so fresh, and it's important. And you have to then later you have to learn more how to work with your brain than with your hands and your face.
Mm-hmm. I never thought that learning bartending would teach me Excel, but here we are. So, yeah.
Same.
Thank you for coming on and talking to us. I had a blast getting to know about you, and I hope people who are listening also know that there's some options in the bar world, things that you can think of and futures you can explore.
Yeah, of course. I hope it's going to be useful at least for someone. It's nothing special. It's just some rules how I usually thinking about things and try to.
I feel like most service industry, especially in America, people aren't paying attention to them. There's not really a clear path of what to do. It's kind of a forgotten industry. So I think just knowing that someone's done it and done it well is of value to a lot of people.
Yeah, maybe. But at the same time, I can't say that, for example, the same exact things gonna work for everyone. Just because if someone already did this pass, it means the door, it's this area not so empty already. But at the same time, you can't beat someone with the same weapon. So you have to figure out how to be more creative or do something different.
Yeah. You can improve, but don't improve this exact way, because that's a fool's errand. Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Thank you again for listening. That was our show for today. Now, if you have not had a chance to check out the website, please do. It's servesyouRightPod.com, all one word. We have past episodes, a place to get in contact with me, notes, and a place to sign up for our weekly newsletter if you're interested. All right, rock and roll. Thanks.